Hey, this is Dave Malekpour with Professional Audio Design. I'm here at the NAMM 2019 in Nashville. I'm here with James Townend, one of the engineers from Ams Neve, as we're going to introduce this new incredible feature for Neve Genesys, the GenesysControl.
It's born of the fact that everybody loves the console. You know, everybody always says they love the sound and stuff, but we hit all these people saying, I love it, but then I got to work so quickly, I just don't have time to do that, or I just have to leave it summed at zero. And the idea behind this was just to do that fill that missing link in between totally integrating the console with the DAW, so the people whose bread and butter work is hammering away at the DAW all day long can still get every access to every function on the console and really automate all that stuff and make a complete package.
Well, my own experience, and we've sold a lot of Genesys consoles over the years, my own experience was that it was sometimes hard to get people to understand the breadth and depth of the console's power, which is, you know, multitude of ways you can use the console, the ways the inserts come in, the different EQs, and then, you know, a lot of people's frame of reference is the DAW today, if they haven't come up the old school way. So a console might actually be a foreign tool. And so my own perspective is that having the plugin also allows someone to see the entire channel function in one screen, and it's a familiar screen, one we're used to seeing if you've done any work on a DAW. So for that customer you're talking about where they're doing 2 or 3 recalls a day or 4 recalls a day, you know, manually recalling a console is almost impossible to add to that workflow. So that's one of the key things that I see about it. But
that's what we found, and well, as you know from the events we did together, people who come up now, they're used to seeing a channel strip represented on screen, so there's no problem with that, no fear of that, but perhaps haven't got the time even to dig into the functions of the Genesys under the hood. They see the front end on the screen, to get it immediately, and then they start using all the features of the console. And then that opens the door to then really getting into the whole thing. But as you can see, you can look at that strip and you can see exactly what's happening on that channel the second you look at it.
So just to give us a little bit of the technology, how does it actually work? There's no audio obviously passing through this plugin. Most plugins have audio that they're processing. It's so just a control.
Just controlled. So the nice thing about that is that there's no real extra load on your DAW for this. It communicates with the console via Ethernet, so it's real fast response and everything.
And it's not using Huey, which was a big limitation.
That's right, yeah. I mean, we still have that available for these faders, so you've always got some fader control over the DAW, because no one wants to give up the feel of the faders. But yeah, you're literally talking directly to the guts of the console right from the plugin.
So, is there any lag time between the controls and the console's response?
No, it's really great. It's a real nice immediate feel. And of course the faders have got a lot more resolution than the Huey fader, so all the automations suddenly, it just feels nicer. It's pretty good experience.
One of our clients, Fabian Jara, who bought a GB96, he's been in the beta group, and his email to me said that it brought a breath and new life to his console, that he already loved the sound of it and working on it, but it opened up more possibilities for him, and I love that idea. So if I were kind of configuring my system, what would I do? Would I put that plug-in on each channel that I'm going to control for that audio channel?
The nice thing about this is there's no right or wrong how you're going to use it. So yeah, we suspect a lot of people are going to build a template and have it on ready to go. But of course you can just work as you go along. So if you come across something, you want to automate something on there, you want to just tweak a setting on the console, then you can just launch up that plugin and do it. Or you could have even, say on this console, 16 channel like this, you could have 16 buses with the plug-in on, and then just route whatever from your big session to the buses, and then they're always going to be like that. They can always be in automation record, so you can touch whatever you like on the console, on the plug-in, and just know that it's constantly recording everything you do, and it's all recallable. It's all going to come back when you open your session.
I didn't think of that particular component where, you know, all the moves you're making, if you have them in right, are basically being stored as you go dynamically against the timeline.
You just don't have to think about, oh, I've got to run a separate automation system here. Or you're not going to think about, oh, well, if I start using the console, it's going to slow me down for recall and everything. It's all in there, and
right. So
this is how it's got to be for
at the speed of the DAW, basically.
Exactly.
I mean, what's one of the challenges that people face? And I think a lot of people like the sound of analog in their workflow, but they don't like that they can't instantly recall it, or that it doesn't follow along at the speed of their Pro Tool session, or the singers come in and they expect to be able to do things instantaneously, or let's go back to that other song so I could lay my background vocals on the second chorus again. And if you had a traditional analog desk, that would be like, great, go take lunch, maybe 2 lunches, and we'll see you back later. And so now it could be instantly reset to where that session was.
That's right. There's 2 things behind it. Obviously, the client's expectations now is that you can switch projects real fast, and like you say, everything's got to be ready to go. And the other thing, of course, is that quite often studios, they'll bring in a freelance engineer or something that just hasn't got time on that occasion to learn the board inside out, and they might come in just for a quick project that's going to move between studios, because this is so much more common now. You can give them these plugins, and they can use all these features straight away. They don't need to know it. You look at that thing and you've got it in 5 seconds.
Right, just patch in the audio that you want to process, and away you go.
Exactly. Studio's working differently now.
So just to go over some of the features that are available, the plugin control, what in the channel can you control with the plugin?
So it's easy to tell you what isn't controlled, but yeah, so you've got the small fader, the large fader, EQ, dynamics, on-offs for all the auxes and for the inserts, so it's kind of all there. Plus then you get the master section one, which gives you all the buzzers, the mix fader, and then some stuff like the effects returns, which you could never automate before, and so they're all in there. And then even housekeeping stuff, like you can label all the faders now, which again, little details, but stuff that you couldn't do before.
Just makes it easier and better.
Exactly.
I noticed in the compressor section that there's features in the plugin that weren't actually in the hardware version of the console without the plugin. So
that's right. So at the moment, there's every parameter is brought out individually rather than being paged on the screen, so you can see the whole compressor channel strip. And then in the future, there's again lots of possibilities, because we're talking directly to the hardware now, so we can we'll be able to even push this harder over time, depending on feedback from customers.
That's great. I mean, to me, it's the ultimate hybrid between the fact that it's stored as part of the your DAW. It's mapping out your routing, mapping out your EQ, your dynamics, and being able to dynamically automate all of that. It really, truly makes the console a hybrid between the analog sound quality that Neve is famous for, and the speed and control that we need in today's workflows.
Right. There's so many people say, the great thing about this board is I love the mic preamps, I love the EQs, I love the dynamics, I want to use them all, and so that we can't allow there to be any barriers between getting access to them real quick. And that's when the magic happens.
Absolutely. I've always loved the console sonically. It's incredible sounding. When we've done some of these demos where people brought in their stems and then took those stems and remixed them through the desk without even much time, and then listen
and
to
everyone in the room hears it.
Right, and instantly it's like, oh wow, my bass sounds clearer and richer. The tonality, the clarity, and the mid-range, all these things that jumped right out. But I do think that there was a learning curve to the console because of the power of it.
Right.
And I my experience with the plugin is that it's like you say, instantly you know what to do.
It looks familiar before you've even started to use it, and that's the killer thing.
Absolutely. So, I think for me, what makes this exciting is that we get to see a console that's one of a kind, a fully integrated with the DAW console that brings analog processing to the speed and workflow that we're used to in a DAW, at the same time with the access to 88R EQ or access to 1084 that was derived from the 8068 console, and I think bringing the master section into the plugin world is also really powerful, because one of the really big strengths of this console is the sound of the mix bus. The super open headroom. It's really hard to overload that mix bus and run out of headroom when you have that kind of stage. And I think in production today, to get that extra 5 or 10 or 15% takes something special, and I think Genesys does that. Is there anything you want to add for people to understand about the plugin that we didn't touch on?
Well, just check it out. We've got videos on documentation online. some YouTube videos going up. So yeah, check it out.
Well, you know, and if you're interested in getting a hands-on one-on-one demo here at Nashville NAMM, you can come to our booth number 320. We'll give you that here. But we also have been running these training events for people who want to find out more about a first-hand experience, not just read about it, not just see a video, but actually put your hands on. And so here at Pro Design, one of the things that we really like to do is get people in front of the desk. So if you're interested, just drop us an email at info@proaudesign.com, and we'll make a specific time for you to come and see it at one of the studios that we've got around the country, where we can bring you in and get a first-hand experience on how powerful and how great sound in this desk is. James, I really want to thank you for being part of this and for bringing this amazing tool to Genesys for us. We've been dying for it, and it's exceeded all my expectations, so thank you.